Welcome back, my duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and it is Tuesday, and Tuesday seems to mean speed duels. So, I've been recently asked, hey, could you remake one of your earlier speed duel takes, and obviously update it with the cards from Battle City if possible? And I said, yeah. So today we're going to be doing Mako Tsunami. And again, the skill card for this was Catch of the Day. So let's go ahead and get you the list, and we'll go back through and we'll run all the reasonings about everything why. So I'll give you the reasoning here. Stats and play the one that you like. I had 2 extra spots. I decided to just toss one of each in. Essentially the same card. I guess on defense, Crazy Fish beats it, but that's fine. You're going to run 3 copies of the High Tide Gyojin. If we can get that to separate. That's all good. We're going to run the single Lost Blue Breaker, as well as the single Mariakutai. And of course, we need to maximize our legendary Fisherman because he is our key card today. So this is the Boss Mon. Still sort of gimmicky, but we got it. Real quick, we're going to add 3 copies Book of Moon, 2 copies Moray of Greed, single Nobleman of Crossout, and of course, double Umi. Moving over to the traps, 2 copies Zoma the Spirit. No surprise there. The extra deck, again, fairly similar to everything else I've been playing. We're going to be running the single Arcana Knight Joker, the double Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, the single Ryo Senshi, and of course the double Thousand Eyes Restrict. And unlike last time, I hadn't gotten into making the side decks back then. Let's go ahead and show you that. We're going to be running a single copy of Jinzo, 1 Cosmic Cyclone, 1 more Nobleman of Crossout. We do side a copy of Metaverse, and of course we're going to side 2 copies Waking the Dragons. So if you were here just for the list, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Obviously, I hope that you guys get to try this out. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. And of course, if this helps you out, let your friends know about the channel, hit the subscribe button, all of the things. But most importantly, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video. Quick thing before I get into the reasonings here. Rook's Table, I don't know if you're watching. We are still waiting for your response. If you'd like to have that some free cards, again, you were picked this week, and you seem to be excited for Speed Duel content, so maybe you'll be seeing this one. You were picked. Just go ahead and email me a mailing address, and I'll get you some free stuff sent out. Of course, that email right there is what you're going to need, thecasualduelist78@gmail.com. Enough of that. Let's go ahead and talk about the reasoning. So every time we need to start with the skill card. So Catch of the Day has 2 effects. The first one is going to be once per duel. The second one is going to be once per turn. So once per duel, if you control Legendary Fisherman, you can activate Umi directly from the deck or the discard pile. Pretty simple. It's gonna give us full power Fisherman and access to his effects. Secondly, once per turn, when Legendary Fisherman you control destroys a monster by battle or inflicts battle damage to the opponent, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower water monster card from your deck or your graveyard in defense position. Now, that is brilliant, and we are going to abuse the living tar out of that today. And I'm going to show you guys how we're going to do that here shortly. So let's go ahead and let's put our skill up there, and let's break this down now. So again, I said this beforehand, and it really goes for all 3 of my vanilla monsters here. Just play the ones that you like out of these 2. Or of course, if you like to use the juggle monsters, go ahead and do that. If you don't know what that means, we'll get to that in a second. High Tide Gyojin is going to be the strongest attack that you're going to generate in this deck at 1850. So again, it's kind of gimmicky because you really don't climb the power ratings too high in this deck. And some of the other decks can just simply outpace it through strength. But we're here for the fun of it, and we're definitely here because we want to see Legendary Fisherman do his thing. And again, between the Great White and the Crazy Fish, play the one that you like, play one of each. Play the Crazy Fish just because it's got better stats all round. It doesn't really matter. So those 2 will be 18s. This will be 1850 with Umi. Lost Blue Breaker, he's our first juggle monster. And again, You gotta remember, catch of the day, as long as the legendary Fisherman cracks a skull, we can either generate this from our deck or our discard pile in defense. Now, he's not much for the defense. It's the effect he's going to have. And that is, as long as there's another fish, sea serpent, or aqua on your side of the field, you can tribute this card, target a spell or trap on the field, and destroy said target. This is the reason I was not using Cosmic Cyclone inside the main deck. And again, if you feel like Cosmic Cyclone would help you out more, maybe consider tossing him out and trying it the other way around. But it's essentially like getting to be able to reborn your MST every turn, which is fantastic. And then there's our second juggle monster, that's the Mariakutai. And again, during the opponent's turn, when the opponent activates a spell card, as a quick effect, we contribute this, negate the activation, and destroy the spell. So we get to negate a spell without actually needing a counter trap. And again, if Jinzo is up, if your opponent is playing Inner Conflict, one of the biggest things is they're going to try to get rid of a back row because Zoma the Spirit just annihilates the deck. And let's say Jinzo's not up yet. They go to Cosmic Cyclone. You marry a Kutai and stop them. Simple. They go to use Book of Moon because they need to overpower something on your side of the field. Maybe you side it into your Jinzo. You can stop this. You can stop your opponent from activating an equip card. This effectively takes Bashing Shield out of the massive scenarios here. And again, we can juggle this back and we can develop it from the deck the first time, so there's no need to actually draw into it and waste time summoning it. So kind of awesome. And then, of course, there's our big boy himself. He's going to be 1850 again. This is going to tie for the top power in the deck for what we can provide in the main build. So while Umi's on the field, and again, we had just his own presence is going to get us Umi through Catch of the Day. While Umi's on the field, he is unaffected by spell effects and cannot be targeted for attacks. Now, those attacks this does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. What does that mean? It means generally monsters have to be battled before your life points can be attacked directly. Legendary Fisherman, through his effect, actually takes himself out of battle completely. So if he is your only monster, your opponent can slap you direct. If he's not your only monster, okay, well, he's not a target, but card number 2 is. At which point it's usually Mariakutai or Lost Blue Breaker. And again, that's going to be in defense mode, so it's going to absorb unless we're seeing piercing going off. It's the first part. He's unaffected by spells. So while we can't equip him ourselves, he's never going to be able to be booked. Your opponent can't hit him with Shrink. Your opponent can't hit him with... Wow, and I had this Offerings to the Doomed. So a lot of the spot removal or quick play cards that are just great right now, they fall short on this character as long as he has his field spell. You just need to know that sometimes you're just going to get an L, though, because, again, he's just not going to block for you. That's why this is still fun to play. It's fun. I enjoyed it. And it was due for an update. The spells, again, we need to be playing the Books of Moon. One of the best things that we got with the Battle City box. And just the fact that, again, we can target monsters, put them in face-down defense. This allows us to stop Jinzo from slapping us. It lets us activate traps once Jinzo's face down. Trap monsters go back into the back row as a set trap again. Due to activation, they can't come back out that turn. Big monsters that you can't actually deal with can be dealt with this way. And again, we do run the single cross out in the main deck and an additional in the side. And it's sort of like, we're already putting the monster face down. Why not set it up for a 1-2 on the few cards we actually can't deal with? And again, we can still deal with things like Thousand Eyes Restrict this way. We can book Restrict. We can book Relinquished. The equipment falls off because a face-down monster can't be equipped. And then, of course, obviously, we're going to break it with the Legendary Fisherman, which will allow us to, again, set up our field again with the 2 monsters that we've chosen to try to juggle the whole match. And again, so Book of Moon, just tons of setup, tons of play. If we ever get a ban list for Speed Duel, I can see this going to 2 or 1 immediately. I don't feel like there's any question about that. We did get Moray of Greed. Again, we need this to draw, so we shuffle 2 water monsters from our hand to the deck, then draw 3. I like this because it's not discarding, it's not banishing, and essentially one thing that can happen is I can go from 2 cards that are very inopportune. Again, let's just talk about the Juggle monsters. I could throw both Juggle monsters back into the deck. I could throw Mariakutai and Lost Bluebreaker, and effectively set myself up with the possibility of having 3 fresh cards and having them in the deck where Catch of the Day can automatically play them from anyway. Kind of amazing. So not even a big deal. I like it. Again, no problem to cross out. You're going to play against some stall decks every now and again. And again, we're kind of abusing, just overusing the Book of Moon. Again, there's going to be some cards. Again, there's a power ceiling in this deck, and it's not too high, so we need every possible out that we can get. And then, of course, our field spell. Now, this one kind of helps only because of the machines that are out in the game right now. So all the fish, sea serpent, thunder, and aqua monsters on the field gain 200 AD. But machines and pyro lose 200 AD. And pyro's kind of inconsequential. It's really the machine monsters and machine structures for the different decks that are going to actually be dealt with. Again, it's like Jinzo Union. So you'll see like XY or YZ, I think it was. Yeah, YZ. You'll see like YZ and like a tech thing, and it'll play spell-proof armor and stuff like this and that. And again, this isn't a targeting effect, so I'm pretty sure that this will still work on them to lower their stats. But because it says machine, you might get some extra play out of this outside of just getting your legendary Fisherman's effects. And then, of course, Zoma, the best counter to Inner Conflict. You special summon it in defense as an effect monster, 4-star dark, 18/5 zombie. And again, when it's summoned by its own effect as a trap, it is destroyed by battle, inflict damage to the opponent equal to the attack of the monster that destroyed it. This is still considered a trap, so if Jinzo's up, Jinzo can effectively stop him. Which is why dark Inner Conflict decks are just so overpowering right now. And again, you're going to run 2. And on a side note, if you have to, you can activate this, you contribute this into your Legendary Fisherman, and it can help you forward your strategy. Let's breeze over this real quick. Arcana Knight protects himself while being pretty strong. Blue Eyes Ultimate is the strongest. Reascenci can negate... is unaffected by the effects of spell cards that target him and can negate normal trap cards for 1,000. And Thousand Eyes Restrict helps us try to control our way out of our opponent overpowering us. And again, the only way we're going to be playing any of these 6 cards is if we're using Waking the Dragons from our sideboard. Moving over to that, we do run a single Jinzo just in case. And again, one of the easiest things that you take out is you'll just take out the Zoma, and you'll go into a slightly more aggressive variant. We do have the Cosmic Cyclone, just again, of course, if you've got to do it, you've got to do it. We do keep a second cross out. Again, we want to be able to maximize the interplay between this Book of Moon and our low power ceiling. I thought it was fun to throw in Metaverse this time. There were just sometimes I really wanted to be able to do something like that. And again, if there's not that much of a power difference on the field, if your opponent's only beating you by 100, this is another sneaky little way to just go ahead and get yourself bulked up real quick. Because not only can we take a field spell from the deck, we can either add it to the hand like Terraforming, or we can just straight up activate it from the deck. At which point we're going to immediately board Umi. And again, Catch of the Day can get that back from our discard pile if we don't want to thin our deck too fast. And this will allow us to just sort of sneak up over some cards like Kaiku. Because again, High Tide Gyojin is 1650. It goes up to 1850 during that. And playing the Metaverse, changing the battlefield is just an amazing strategy. And then, of course, 2 copies Waking the Dragon. Of course, if your opponent's going to play overly excited, keeps trying to break through your back row, this is a good way to bait them out. So I do hope that this deck hit the mark today, my friends. I really did have a lot of fun and enjoyed building this. I hope you guys get to test it out a little bit for yourselves, and I hope you do well with it. And I will see you guys on the next video. So, later.